Okay, I'm live. Is anybody watching? I have never done this before. Okay, well, here we go. I am doing my first live, my first Facebook live. And I guess, if you're participating, you can drop a little comment or chat in the chat box. Um, this is a relatively small group at this point in time, and so if I don't even know if I expect anyone to be here live, but you will have the replay. So and hopefully you'll have a chance to watch that. I'm hoping to talk for about I don't know, 15, maybe 15 minutes at the most. Don't want to take too much time here. Um, so we're gonna start with, as I said, I'm working on this project called 21 Hidden Root Causes of Dis-ease. And you may have noticed I've been posting about it. I've been podcasting, um, and and I've been posting the list and talking about it a little bit. And again, trying to podcasting is a great way to relate information, because you can just talk Dharma talk style. But today I wanted to talk about why I'm doing this project, and if you haven't tuned in to any part of this yet, and why, again, as a yoga teacher, um, this is something a yoga teacher might take on. And again, I'm not just a yoga teacher, but that is what I do, and I kind of weave all the things I do into that um, you know, um, arena, right? Because yoga is really everything, and it can include everything and all the layers of being and beingness, and that's what I want to talk about today. So you may not know a lot about yoga philosophy or understand the deeper layers of yoga and what the yoga practices are for. Um, as we know, yoga is largely known as um, a physical practice in the West, but we do know that there's a much deeper um, aspect to it. So today I'm going to talk about the koshas. Okay, so if I added some, uh, if you look in the group, you'll see I put some lists or some visuals in there for you to reference later to learn about the koshas. So the koshas are, and again, in different systems of yoga, there's different ideas about the invisible layers how many bodies we have and what dimensions they're in. And I just want to make that clear from the upfront, because I'm going to give information and it's going to conflict with other information. Just bank on that. We have so many different perspectives, cultures, and um, you know, cosmologies to come to the same understandings, and they don't always match perfectly. But what it is it gives you a map, to start to understand these things and to discuss them with other people. Because in the yogic philosophy, from the tradition that I've studied, the koshas are quite popular. We can we can share notes about them. So what the koshas are is, kosha means sheath, so, or layer. Okay, so the idea in this tradition is that we have 5 layers of being. Okay, so I also studied Kundalini. Kundalini talks about 10 bodies. In this system, there are 5 layers of being, 5, and 3 bodies. Okay, so stay with me here. So what we have is the first through the 5th layers, and I'll describe what they are. The first layer is the densest layer of our being, which is our body, our physical body, and that's known as the Ana Maya Kosha, otherwise known as the food sheath, right? The food that we eat creates the body that we have, and our body is food for other beings. It's a physical body. Okay, the second body is called the pranic body, or the pranamaya kosha, And this is the energy body, the realm of energy and sensing and feeling and emotion. Okay, those reside on the second body, which is the pranic body. The pranic layer, and I'm going to go into 3 bodies in a moment. So the third layer, third sheath, is the lower mind. Okay, this is also known as the kama manas. So manas means mind. Okay, so the lower mind, we have 2 minds. And this is really important to know if you're trying to understand yourself and the way you work and, you know, how it all works, how it all it ticks, you know, is basically we have a lower mind, which is the third sheath. We have a higher mind, which is the fourth sheath. And those are quite different. So the lower mind is, you know, driven by, it's largely ignorant. It's driven by impulses, reactivity, desire, that kind of thing, right? And the higher mind is the mind of intellect, or also known as buddhi. It's another name for it. And also is, you know, the mind that can be self-aware, the self-awareness, and the self-knowledge, the wisdom mind, okay? And it's called Vijnanamaya Kosha, the fourth sheath. Vijna means wisdom, okay? So the fifth sheath, which is the innermost sheath, is called the Anandamaya Kosha. And that's the bliss body. So that's sort of like the limitless, boundless realm of beauty and transcendence and union, or samadhi, you know. And what we're trying to do is access that layer, you know, and live from a place of transcendence and bliss and unification of all 5 bodies. Okay, so we can okay, so I'm going to make some parallels here. All right, so starting with describing the 3 bodies. Okay, you might have to watch this a few times. It's a lot of information. It's a little, you know, it's out there. It's philosophy. So the 3 bodies are the physical body, which includes the first sheath, the Annamaya Kosha. Okay, physical body, first sheath of the koshas, first kosha. The second body is the astral body, and the astral body again is and let me make another correlation. First sheath, physical body, and third dimension. Okay, what you touch, what you see, physical, right? The second body is the astral body. So the astral body includes the second, third, and fourth sheath, or kosha, which, if you remember, is the pranic kosha, the lower mind, and the higher mind. They all reside in the astral body, which is, can you guess? The fourth dimension. Okay, that's the invisible realm of mind and energy. Okay, I hope this is starting to click. The fifth kosha, the innermost kosha, is known as the causal body, or the fifth dimension. Fifth kosha, fifth dimension. All right. Okay, I've been talking about this in my podcast. The fact, hopefully you've got some of this information around, you know, the shifting that we're experiencing in the Aquarian age, coming from the Piscean age, shifting from the third to the fifth dimension, okay? What's happening is these layers of our being are being revealed and purified. And this is happening, quite honestly, through cosmic forces, i.e. celestial bodies, i.e. the stars, and the movement of the stars and the galactic influences that are happening now to move us into a higher dimension, the fifth dimension, a less dense dimension. Okay? So there's a lot of different talk about what that means to move from the third to the fifth. And there's a little synopsis, if that makes sense. Okay, you're always welcome to message me and ask me about this stuff. This is the kind of stuff I'm always talking and thinking about, and I would be happy to share or compare notes or whatever you got. So, how does this relate to the project I'm working on? Okay, in my life, I have been working with, since I was young, since I was 16 years old, I started to experience the astral body, the astral realm, okay? The pranic, lower mind, and higher mind. I was kind of shafted out of the physical 3D experience that a lot of people were living in. And I was sort of shafted into this fourth dimension, which was it is a dimension of, it's an invisible dimension filled with energy, thoughts, um, manifestations that are, they can be visual, but they're not physical, you know. Um, so the fourth dimension it's kind of a chaotic place. It's the interworlds. It's the interdimension, where some souls are hanging out, you know, i.e. ghosts or other beings, say elemental beings, or extraterrestrial beings. And the fourth dimension is where they all live, and they can see each other sometimes. They can see us. Sometimes we can see them. And when we can see them, it's a little disorienting because not everybody can see them. And then, it looks like we're in the third dimension, but we're actually in the fourth, and people in the third will not understand what's happening if you're in the fourth. And the fourth, is very confusing, and you could only be seeing some of the fourth. The idea is you don't want to get stuck in the fourth. You want to move through the fourth into the fifth, which is the Anandamaya Kosha. Okay, you want to move beyond duality, beyond confusion, beyond perception, beyond distraction. How many rabbit holes are there in the fourth dimension? Right? You can get very, very lost and very distracted because a lot of things do want your attention in that realm. And the internet is a good example of the fourth dimension, right? You go to Google something and suddenly you're somewhere else for 2 hours. You didn't even intend to be there, that kind of thing, right? So, basically, so my experience of at 16 years old dropping into an experience of the fourth dimension, this invisible realm, where I was able to perceive things that didn't make sense to me, didn't make sense necessarily to some of the people around me, though it made sense to some people who were sort of further on the path and were wondering how I knew the things that I was talking about, and very sort of bizarre experiences for sure. And, in my life, I was, it was termed a psychiatric disorder. And that's how I was treated. And I knew because I was a very smart and capable, grounded kid until age 16, that something weird had happened to me. And I didn't know how to explain it. And I wasn't satisfied with the fact that I was, quote unquote, diagnosed and, given medication in my case. And so I went on a long journey of necessity to try to figure out what was really going on. And there are many people on that journey, who have had these experiences, and they have found information through psychic teachers or subtle body teachings or yoga or, studying mediumship even, or other things, to help explain what they're experiencing. Okay. So, again, my allegiance and my love is with yoga primarily, because I don't want to get stuck in the distraction of the fourth, and the fourth also includes conspiracy theory, etc. There's just a lot going on there, and it can be a distraction, and you can get stuck there. And the idea is we're actually trying to move past that into the fifth dimension, into uh, a experience of bliss and non-duality and non-judgment, and being able to hold all of it, you know, the quote unquote good and the bad, and to live peacefully amongst all of it and metabolize it, and then take the world with us so that we can have a safer, happier world to live in, which is, you know, according to the scriptures and the mystics, you know, we are heading toward what's called the Satya Yuga, or age of truth. And that's preceding, or sorry, that's coming after what we're in now, which is the Kali Yuga, which is the age of destruction. Okay, you may have noticed. So that's a lot of backstory there. Some of my personal story, if you don't already know it. I've been sharing a little bit about it, but you know, I feel like it's time for me to start talking about this a little bit more, because it's because I feel like I have, again, having researched all this stuff for 25 years at this point, I have come up with some helpful answers. So that brings me to my list. All right, so my list of 21 hidden root causes. Again, yogic practice. If you're just doing asana, physical practice, you're working with the first sheath, right? The physical sheath, the physical body. Okay, that's great, and that's going to help you. But what if you're experiencing deeper issues, unexplainable things, suffering, and you can't quite get to, the asana isn't really helping you move past those things? And that's really what you came to yoga for, is like, I need some help. I need to feel better. I don't know how to feel better. I don't know what is going on with me, and how to, you know, if you're experiencing, again, symptoms like anxiety, depression, deep rage, or unexplained, you know, phenomenon. So the asana is going to help you regulate you, but it's kind of leave you hanging a little bit when it comes to getting through this experience and on and moving these layers, these symptoms out of your field, out of your energy field, right? Through the five koshas, to drop deeper and deeper and deeper down into that bliss body. Okay. So I just want to say it's been a little more than 15 minutes. I'm going to say probably maybe we'll go till 3:30, and then that'll be good. So, okay. So this is what I came to discover. Like I mentioned, we have two minds. Okay. We have a lower mind, which is largely ignorant, largely run on, it's already programmed. You know, it just, you know, you push a button and it spits out whatever. It doesn't have much of its own unique thought, or it's sort of autopiloted, right? Not very smart. So that mind is afflicted with, in yoga, what we call avidya. And avidya means ignorance. Okay, so ignorance of the truth, of the real, of reality, of, say we're mad at somebody because they did something, but if we knew why they did it, we wouldn't be mad. So the ignorance of, say, them and what they're going through. So ignorance creates suffering. And that's the whole teaching, right? And that's a big word in yoga, is the word avidya. Vidya means knowledge. Vidya. Avidya means suffering. A-V-I-D-Y-A. I'm sorry, it means ignorance, which creates suffering. Okay. So the lower mind is afflicted with avidya. Okay, we know that. And the higher mind is what we access when we start doing the personal work, when we have the epiphanies, when we start to wake up, when we start doing the inquiry, when we start taking the time and the space to go, wait a minute, I don't actually like how I'm being, and I want to access a deeper, calmer, more evolved part of myself. That is the higher mind. That's known as buddhi, B-U-D-D-H-I, or intelligence, self-knowledge. And actually, The ego, that it's called the ahamkara, as a side note, also lives there in the higher mind. So you would think that the ego lived in the lower mind, wouldn't you? But not so. So we have to get on board with our ego, and the ego needs to be aligned with the higher mind with clarity. And that's when we're evolved beings, and we can act really from agency and truth and depth and wisdom and compassion and kindness with each other. And that's a journey. If you're not there yet and you want to get there, that's the first step. And then there's practices and there's inquiries that you can do to start to evolve and to that place. So again, the causal body. Okay, the causal body is precisely what I'm talking about with my list, my 21 hidden root causes. Okay, the causal body lives in the Anandamaya Kosha. The way that it's stated is that the astral body, everything but the physical body, right? Not the physical, but the energetic and the lower and the higher mind, those make up the astral, in conjunction with the Anandamaya Kosha, the fifth sheath, the causal body. When we die, the astral and the causal leave together. Okay? The physical dies, those two bodies leave together. They go into the ethers, into the bardo realms, float around, maybe other things attached to them from the fourth dimension, and then they get reborn into a new being. And that new being is carrying what's called samskaras, or scars from this past life. And again, you have to understand the teachings of past life and really be open to that and believe that that's the way things work in order to understand this teaching. And I truly, I'm 100% behind that being the case, that we do have multiple lifetimes, different bodies, same soul. Okay. So if when we're born, we inherit an astral and a causal body from the lifetime before us, we don't have a clean slate, right? We are a product of that last lifetime and all the ones before it, because everything just keeps getting pushed forward, recycled, 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 recycled into the future. And we end up with these problems that we have no idea how we got them. You know, memories, impressions, maladies, issues, sadnesses, depressions, PTSD, confusion. Okay, we come into life with this little bundle going, this is your destiny. It's also our fate. This is your fate. And then you are given a new opportunity with each life as a destiny. So, you know, if just left unchecked with those seeds, what are called karmic seeds from a past life experience, they're going to blossom into something in this lifetime that we may feel is out of control because we did not, in this lifetime, cause it. It was in the causal body. Why would causes of suffering, seeds of suffering, be in the bliss body? Right? It's because if we get down to the seeds, to the root, and we figure it out, we pluck them out, we bring awareness, Sat Chit Ananda awareness, to the root, to the seed, we pluck it out of the bliss body, and suddenly the bliss body is just bliss. It's pure bliss. It's carrying the seeds because it wants those seeds to, you know, it wants to kind of slough off those seeds. But that's where they live, at the very, 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 very inner aspect of us. That's hard to get to. Okay, we have to travel through the physical, the pranic, the low mind, and the high mind. All, you know, just to get to that, just to get to the causal body. If we're distracted, I'm sorry, but we're never going to get there. not in this life. And that's why having yogic guidance and making being blessed to be exposed to these ideas. First of all, consider yourself blessed. I consider myself blessed to have been exposed to these ideas. And now you are, if you're still listening. And now it's your free will whether or not you're going to do something about it. Because you know that you have a bliss body, and you could affect your bliss body and get to the root of some of those seeds and have less suffering for this life and the next. Or maybe not even have a next life if you're lucky, if that's what you want. Maybe you want to come back, who knows. In any case, the 21 in my journey, 25 years, that's what I was so obsessed with, was the karmic layer, the causal body. What caused this? What is this, and what caused it? I was so fervently, I have been so fervently on the path to discovering that. And with my list, I came up with 21 places you could look. You could begin looking. So the idea is that if you follow one of that list, if you follow one point, you will unravel deeper and deeper down each of those topics on the list. And the list is in the group, so I don't have it here to read to you, but you can reference it in the group. And so yeah, I just wanted to talk about why this was relevant as a yoga teacher, why I would be talking about these causal realms. And again, some of these causes that I wrote are located in the physical body, right? Toxins are that's the physical layer. Like, we can avoid that on the physical layer. Of course, it comes to us through other deeper layers, but we're just starting somewhere. Food, diet, that's the physical layer. But then, there's pranic layers that I go into, pranic reasons, as well as mental habits, negativity or positivity. Okay, so there's lots of different entry points, and my hope is, again, that it took me 25 years to research these things, and I'm trying to get the word out there. I kind of did the work for you, unless you've looked into these areas yourself. And if you haven't, if you haven't ever thought of them, my hope is that you will use this study as a reference point to do some healing, some deeper healing on yourself. Okay, so I'll just make the offer. My offer, again, if you would like to work with me directly, I created a new offering I'm calling Tap the Root, which is, going through this list and trying to find maybe an entry point for you. If you're having an issue, it's like, what is this thing? I can't sleep, or I'm having these weird dreams, or I have anxiety, or, we can start to funnel the way towards that causal realm. And right now, during the Mars retrograde period, which ends November 13th, I'm offering these sessions for half price. So they're $75 and they're an hour, and it's inquiry and discussion, and you can come to me and we can look at these. And again, there's other ways I could be of service as well, through helping with yoga, help personalize a yoga practice or work. I do tarot readings, which are very informative and help you get through layers of your own awareness, working towards that vision of Maya Kosha, that fourth sheath, to your wisdom mind, to bring awareness from the lower mind to the higher mind. And that's the cards are about, and working with the archetypes. So this is my life's work, and I want to say 2020, it's 2020 now, and I'm kind of feel like this is sort of like the beginning of me really, really honing in on how I can distribute this information, get get this stuff out there, try to put it in, easily digestible teachings. It's taken me a long time to come to this place. So thank you so much for listening. Thanks for being part of this group. Please feel free to comment on this video, and I don't want to go on too much longer, but you know how to reach me, and you can send me a private message, whatever you need. Feel free to tell anybody you think might benefit from this information about it. Send them my way. And yeah, I'm so grateful that you made the time to watch this. And may you have a beautiful, blessed evening, sweet dreams if it's at night, and take care of yourself and your loved ones. Thank you. Take care.